watching a little bit more football these days.
And
than
you know what,
used
Rich?
to?
Here's here you should admit when you didn't see something. Listen, football is always going to be a violent game, but it just is. The neurosis about that bothers me. When trying to make it the completely safe violent game, it seems like a fool's errand. If a young man has worked his whole life to get bulked up and loves to rock other people's worlds for millions of dollars and unlimited women, I don't want to call him and say, hey, I'm the 65-year-old guy who used to do the news. I've got some thoughts on your life. Just,
Right.
I let him do his thing.
Right.
But I have noticed now that guys... I grew up watching Branch, Stingley, all that stuff.
Right.
People aren't launching anymore. And I've seen some entirely what you go to football for, which is quite hits, breastplate with. And I thought, all right, I guess it's a hard drive thing where you dial that down. And then a few years later, it's the new norm.
That's always been the conversation, at least from the management of the NFL, is that the players will adjust. The only problem is it's always on the defender to know where the guy is going to hit the crouch position, the crash position, and sometimes it's on them.
Not a perfect system, but I must say for the first time, I think I always expect people to concede when they've missed the point. I think I missed the point a little. I do think that it can't happen immediately, and that zone between getting it right or getting it the old way, I sometimes get impetuous and cranky. I'm a bit of an old get-off-my-lawn guy. But now that I've seen it a few years, I start to see the wisdom of just people not thinking about going high at all, knowing they have to go into the breadbasket. But the stuff that's happened to Clay Matthews is still maddening. I mean, geez,
oh, gosh. That earlier on this season was...
I think they sent out a directive. See, that's the thing now. Everybody's taping everybody else. I don't know how they get it out now, but I assume it's like Al Davis, Lucas Allen Trask. They have to find somebody who's close to... You know what I mean?
They have to, is a nice old school
They have to
reference
compartmentalize the hit. It's like, G.D. Spradlin looking at Martin Sheen and say, I want him to be dispatched with extreme prejudice.
Exactly.
So I think the NFL, they can't come right out and say, listen, we've got to loosen that rule up a little. We're being too whiny.
There's no doubt a phone call was made.
Yeah, something in-house where they go, listen, we're taking away from what our people watch our thing for.
Absolutely.
What Matthews did, if you watch Matthews, if he's eventually put into the Hall of Fame or the 100 greatest players of the decade, they'll show clips that are now penalties. It's like I watch Dick Knight Train Lane, 9th rated player, I think, on the NFL Network of all time, and I look at him and go, Dick Knight Train Lane couldn't play now. Every week I'd watch him being in the fine protocol or whatever. And back then, though, you look at Bednarik, Splat Lambert. I mean, listen, took me a while to get used to it. It's the new game. It's allowed me to watch more. I don't get all of it, but I do get more of it.
So are you watching tonight's game? You're going to watch the Steelers
big one
game?
tonight.
So you'll be settled in watching?
I think I will. This is a good one. I come from Pittsburgh, and we've got Cam Newton is in his groove, and he's starting to grow on me. I didn't get some of it early. I'm starting to see that whether you like it or not, you don't quite get the next generation like you should as you get older. I always fancy myself as a reasonably, I read a lot, I try to stay in touch, but I thought I'm becoming the cranky guy.
Right.
So now that I watch Cam and I realize, like I was watching the other day with my son, I love my son dearly, and I think he's one of the wisest men I've ever met. And the guy pulled the thing up, and he went for the phone. And immediately I'm over there like Archie. Oh, damn these kids! And he said, "Dad, listen up. It's a whole new world." He's doing an homage to Joe Horn.
Yes.
And then I thought, oh, that's right. He did that years ago. And he says he's got a flip phone. I didn't even notice that. I just went to the blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And I thought, man, it happens and you're not even aware of it, that you have to say this is not your era.
Right.
This is a new era. And that is not as big a misstep as you think it is.
Well, I had the similar reaction, and I knew he was paying homage to Joe Horn at that point in time, because you're taking on a Rams team, you're giving them half a field down 2 scores with 4 minutes to go, with 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning left. That's exactly what I thought. But then I had one of the players, one of his teammates, Cameron Jordan from the defensive line, one of the best pass rushers in the league. I had him on 2 days ago, and he said that the team loved it.
Yeah.
Team loved it. Nobody was sitting there saying what. Like the coach, Sean Payton, kind of barked at him a little bit.
Well, there's been a tectonic, seismic shift in the rubric of the culture when you can look me straight in the face with no irony and say, I knew it was a Joe Horn homage. I don't know about that. Might as well be as pronounced as AD and BC right now.
I know. But it's true, though.
Of course, this is Joe. You can now, due to social media, you can go through the entire movie A Star is Born in one day. You can put up a tweet at 8 a.m. You can become famous off it by 10. You can be decried by it by noon. You can hire a publicist at dusk to get you out of it. And you can supplicate yourself and grovel, and at 9 that night, you're back on the A team. It's amazing.
What does it mean, then, that it's my job to know that it's a Joe Horn homage? That I'm doing my job appropriately?
There are worse jobs, brother. You could be out here moving these orange cones around.
Right here in the on the offset of Heat.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.